complete the cabin project in Technical Drawing 101 with AutoCAD. So first of all, if you're a student of mine, if you click on Module 7 here, you're going to see a lot of files in here. You've got some PowerPoint slides. See where it says Chapter 12? Now in the 2020 edition, this is now called the Capstone Project. Same information, but if you click on where it says Chapter 12, first of all, you've got a module to introduce the assignment, but go ahead and click on Chapter 12. This is a PowerPoint slide, and you can use this PowerPoint slide if you want to save it, use it as a reference. So it's got some chapter objectives, but more or less, you might be able to substitute part of this, not all of it, in place of the textbook. Now, some people have a hard copy textbook, some people have the ebook. Hopefully you're not using Google Book Preview because you will run out of information. But I put this PowerPoint slide up here for you. So this cabin project, first of all, what you're going to draw is you're going to draw a floor plan, but you're also going to draw an elevation. In fact, elevation sheet. In fact, you're going to draw a front and a right side elevation in addition to this floor plan. Now this floor plan is going to have, well, of course, the floors and walls, but you're also going to have a little kitchen area, fireplace, a bathroom area. It's going to have electrical symbols. It's going to have plumbing symbols. It's going to be dimensioned, okay? So we're going to get to all that. They've got some 3D renders of this cabin, in fact, and it's kind of a new thing. But so you can use these PowerPoint slides in addition to the book. So getting started here, this is on the slides. So you're going to download this Arc Cabin prototype drawing file. Okay, we're going to create some layers. We're going to save our work somewhere so we don't lose our work. Then we're going to begin by drawing the perimeter walls. From the exterior walls, we're going to begin working on the interior walls. And then we're going to have to create some blocks to create symbols, okay? And that's okay. You're going to want to insert these is what's going to happen. So, but this video, what we're going to do is we're going to work up to here. And this is all I really want you to do for this week is we're going to work up to this point, okay? So let's get started. First things first. Arc Cabin prototype, you're going to find under Module 7. So it's going to be this file right here, Arc Cabin prototype. Go ahead and get that to launch with AutoCAD. There it goes. Okay. So this is going to launch with AutoCAD. Okay, so I'm using a student version. It lets me know that. I'm going to hit open anyhow. It's asking about AECs. These are architectural engineering components. It just tells me that at some point they converted this into a 3D model. I'm going to hit close. Now, first things first. Oh, proxy graphics. So it was created with an older copy of AutoCAD. And it's asking you to substitute something close to it. And that's okay. Just hit OK on that situation. Now, first things first. You're going to want to do File, Save As. Get this saved somewhere into your computer. So I'm going to save mine on a desktop. File name. So for the file name, well, for my students, I'm going to type in AMS 163 dash my last name dash and some type of description. It's a cabin, so I'm going to type cabin. So make sure you give it a good file name so you know how to reference these back. I'm going to just simply save mine on my desktop because I'm working off my laptop, and I'm going to hit save. Next, check your snap settings just to be on the safe side. Go ahead and check your snap settings. Set these up. By now, you should already know what snap settings are and how they work. So I always hit select all, but I uncheck nearest, apparent, and parallel for the time being. We will use nearest later. We might use parallel, possibly, but that's generally how I set mine up to start a drawing. hit OK. Next, you've got 3 rectangles here, and there's some notes down here, okay? But there's a big note here. Draw a floor plan inside this rectangle. So, and this is the floor plan area. So, next, you can use the PowerPoint slides to kind of follow along. We need to, let me go back and hit the PowerPoint slide real quick. And this is in the textbook as well. If you're using the 2020 edition of the textbook, it's going to be on page 454. So, okay, wait a minute. It's this chapter 12, part 1 floor plan. It's going to be the PowerPoint slide, okay? So, and they tell me in the textbook on page 454, but let me kind of scroll down here whenever this loads up. I went too far. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. So, we opened the file from module number 7. We saved as, okay, good. We gave it a name, cabin project. Model tab says to be in the model tab. Well, model tab's infinite black space down here. Notice you've got layout sheets. We're going to use these later. One of them's optional, foundation plan optional. So we've already done that. Next, we're going to create the following layers, okay? So I'm going to use the textbook, but you can use these it looks like floor plan, doors, windows, shelf, etc., right? So if you recall how to create a layer, I can type in the keyboard shortcut key is LA, or simply press layer properties. I'm going to press LA spacebar. I'm locked up. Hold on. This computer's not the greatest. There it goes. Okay. So you can hit Alt N, or there's a little button right here with these pieces of paper. It looks like layers of paper. The one with the orange glowing globe looking thing. That's going to give you create new layer too, or Alt N. So I'm going to go new layer, cap locks on, so that I know that I created it. So you don't, it's all uppercase. First new layer is going to be walls, and this is according to the 2020 edition. Okay, new layer, doors. New layer, windows. New layer, cabinets, wall. Now they tell you cabinets, wall, okay? There is a substitute here. Cabinets, wall, and then if you look again, they say cabinets, base. What they're referring to are kitchens. If you go measure countertops in your kitchen, you're going to find out that they're planned at 24-inch from the wall. So from the wall to the front edge of your countertops are 24-inch. Cabinets, wall, well, there's another name for those, cupboards. So you can name this cabinets wall, which means that it's not the base, which means it's a cupboard. You could name this cupboard. I hope you're following along. I'm going to name this cupboard, this cabinets wall. Okay, new layer, cabinets base. As I said, that's your countertops. So you could either name it countertops, or if you wanted to, you could name it just plain old cabinets. So I'm going to name mine countertops. Let me expand this, okay? Cabinets wall is also a cupboard. Countertops are going to be your cabinet base. Okay, let me keep going. New layer, shelves. New layer, electric plan. And this is going to be a little new for you when we do the electric plan. New layer, switch lines. Now, switch lines are going to be what we call Romex. Okay, if you've ever done electrical work, residential or commercial wiring houses, okay, they use Romex. Romex is a sheeted, insulated 3 or 4 wire system, okay? Let's see. New layer, plumbing plan. New layer, roof overhang. Let's see, new layer, room labels. room labels. This is the 2020 edition. I know the PowerPoint slide's a little bit different. New layer dimensions. Whoop, I'm misspelling things. There we go. New layer porches. New layer elevations. And new layer notes. Okay, so I've created all the layers after one. Next, they say assign a color to each layer. Now, as you recall, there's one color that I would ask you not to assign. So, and let me explain this again. When AutoCAD by default has white, when AutoCAD by default has white color selected, okay? AutoCAD will actually print things by block, meaning it'll print it the opposite color of whatever color you're working with. So if I'm working with black model space over here, it's going to print white. And if you're printing on white paper, it's going to print black. But if you select white, for example, I'm going to select white. I'm going to click white here. Watch. And I'll pick white, okay? If I pick white, it's different. It's actually, let me do that again. Let's see, color, no. Oh, I know what to do. If I pick white, which is 255, 255, 255, which is actually all the colors combined, it will print white. Now that is bad when you're printing on white paper. So it's the equivalent of trying to print with white out, okay? Don't pick white. That's the only color I would ask you not to pick. So walls. I'm gonna make my walls, let's see, yeah, red. That's fine. Doors, let's see, what color do I want my doors? I'm gonna make my doors kind of like a brownish color, I suppose. Windows, I generally pick this index color, cyan. Okay, I usually pick cyan for windows. Cupboard, it's really up to you, whatever color you think, except white. I don't know, maybe I'll make them gray. That looks okay. Countertops, maybe I'll make that a darker gray. Just not white, okay? Let's see, shelves, maybe I'll make my shelves. Sure, this color is fine by me. Electric plan, so that's going to be things like switches, overhead lights, ceiling fixtures, okay? There's an old-fashioned term too called a luminaire. That's the old-fashioned term for a light. I don't know. Generally for light, I might do something like magenta. Switch lines, again, that's going to be the wiring to wire up your lights and your switches. Romex. Generally, if you've ever done residential wiring, it's Romex. So generally with switch lines, I choose like a yellow. Okay, it's going to be the wire to wire everything up. Plumbing plan, I don't know, like tubs and toilets, things of that nature. Let's go with, I kind of like this color here. It's like a purpley fuchsia looking color. Roof overhang, it's going to be your roof looking from the top down. I don't know. What do I choose there? Son of a gun. I'm going to choose like, what looks good to me? Maybe a green. Green works for me, okay. Room labels, maybe I'll leave that AutoCAD selected white. What that'll do is print by block. By block is the opposite contrast of your medium. That's fine by me. Dimensions, let's see, maybe I'll make my dimensions all cancel. I'll leave that AutoCAD white. Porches, well, porches are made out of decking material, usually pressure treated. Maybe I'll do like a light green here, I guess, I don't know. Elevations, generally I'm going to pick the same color as my walls, which was red. That's fine by me. Notes, maybe I'll leave that AutoCAD selected. Now, if you look at the directions in the book and on the PowerPoint slide, they tell me to change my line type for the switch lines. Remember, the switch lines are your wiring. From continuous, so this column here is line type. From continuous, where's switch lines? Right here. To phantom. Now, phantom is not in your select line type listing here. So AutoCAD doesn't automatically launch everything. It has not loaded that. It doesn't load it because, well, AutoCAD would take a long time to launch. So what you're going to need to do is manually load this by pressing the load key or load button here. Now they tell you Phantom. Phantom comes Phantom, Phantom 2, and Phantom times 2. Phantom 2 is multiplied by 0.5, which is divide. It's going to make them smaller. Phantom times 2 is going to blow them up double the size. It's going to make them bigger. They tell you just plain old Phantom, Phantom. So I'm going to look for plain old Phantom down here, Phantom, and then hit OK. Make sure it's selected, highlight blue, and then hit OK again. So it should cross you over. Just make sure it says Phantom under here. Now, I always go a little step further. One of the things I grade you on is proper use of line weight. Remember, line weight adds ink. When you go to print, it's going to literally add ink. So your hard copies, the lines will be thicker. And it really goes back to line thickness. So what I do next is I program line weight. Now, this is not in the textbook, but it makes all the practical sense in the world. So walls. Are walls visible objects? Are they object line? Solid, continuous, visible line? Yeah, walls are objects. So I'm going to change the line weight here to 0.6 millimeter. Is how thick an object line should be. A visible line. Okay, doors. Are doors objects? Yes, sir. They certainly are. So I'm going to change that to 0.6 millimeter. Oh, let's see what's next. Windows. Windows are objects, so I'm going to change that to 0.6 millimeter. Cupboard. Now here's the thing about a cupboard and something about a floor plan I need to describe. A floor plan is the most common and frequent section view of all of architecture. Literally what a floor plan is a floor, if you were to cut through a house, what you would do is measure from the floor up 40 inches, chop through the walls, peel back the ceiling, thus revealing the floor. That's what a floor plan is. In fact, it's so common that we don't even call it a section view. It's simply called a floor plan. Cupboards are above that 40-inch. So for the cupboards, what I need you to do, we're going to change its line type to hidden, Hidden. First of all, you're going to want to load hidden. So let's load hidden. Where's it at? Oh, just Hidden, not hidden 2, not hidden times 2, just plain old hidden. Hit OK, make sure it's selected, hit OK again. These cupboards are above that 40-inch cutting plane line. And being that they're a hidden line, their line weight is different. Their line weight is going to be 0.3. Okay? So make sure the line weight for your cupboards or your cabinet's wall are going to be 0.3. Countertops, those are objects, so I'm going to change that to 0.6. They're below the cutting plane line, so this laptop's a little slow, so bear with me. Shelves, are those objects? Yep, they're objects that hold up other objects. So I'm going to change that to 0.6 millimeter. Where are we at? Okay, good. Electric plan, like switches and outlets, lights and lamps, things of that nature. Those are objects, so I'm going to change that to 0.6 millimeter. Switch lines. Now again, the switch lines are wiring. Generally, it's Romax. Romax is the wiring we use nowadays. Now, the thing about the switch lines, first of all, its line type is Phantom. If you recall, we loaded the Phantom line type. But in addition to that, and this is just the tradition of drafting, it's above the cutting plane line. And being that it's a Phantom line, we're going to change its line weight to 0.3 millimeter. Plumbing plans like tubs and toilets and things of that nature. You're going to want to change that. Those are objects to 0.6 millimeter. Roof overhang. Now, we're going to change its line type to hidden. We've already loaded it, so we're just going to select hidden and hit OK. And being that it's a hidden line, we need to change its line weight to 0.3. So make sure your roof overhang is hidden and 0.3. Room labels. Labels, like bedroom, bathroom, living room, right? Room labels are not objects. Those are abstract. It's language, right? Written language. And being that labels are abstract and not a physical recurring material in a universe, being that they're abstract, they are not objects. So you're going to want to change those to 0.3. Dimensions. Well, what are dimensions? Like numbers, right? Numbers. Numbers are abstract. It is something we created. We created the number system. So they're not objects. We're going to set that to 0.3 millimeter. Porches, well, that is an object, so we're going to change that to 0.6 millimeter. Elevations, that's how the house is going to look from the curb. In other words, it's going to how it's going to look as you approach it, as it's standing upright in front of you. So I'm going to change that. Those are, you're going to see it as an object, visible line. So I'm going to change that to 0.6 millimeter. Notes. Notes are abstract. So notes are usually written language, which is abstract. Change that to 0.3. Next, we're going to begin, once you've got your layer set up, you can exit out of here. And we're going to begin to draw next.